damn it. Her again. This case has nothing to do with you, Baker. Clear the passage or I'll shut you up for obstruction.
Officer Bradley, you've finally grown a pair. Too bad you're too fat to see them down there.
Why you?
Come on, keep the smile. You don't want to force me to widen it.
Okay, I get it. Can we go to the mansion now?
I thought I'd straightened you out, mister. I am disappointed, but we'll meet again.
Is it far, this mansion?
Look behind you, at the top of the ridge. You see the building? That's the Hawkins mansion. Come on, we got some driving to do. Well, here we are, Hawkins Mansion. The place has been abandoned since the fire. There's only old Winchester in his hut.
Your partner, Andrews, warned me against him.
You managed to get something out of that bum? I'll end up asking you for advice.
He talks too much. He inferred that old Silas was slightly unhinged.
That's not far off the mark, I suppose. But kinda unfair at the same time. You know, Silas Winchester has been working for the Hawkins family as far back as I can remember. Charles was like a son to him. The day of the fire, he lost his whole family. So he's got nowhere to go. And, as you'll see, in a way he's still watching over them. Is there anything else you want to ask me? Or do you want to go up there?
I don't believe the fire is the only reason this house is in such a state.
It's a very old building, you know? Its foundations would probably date from the arrival of the first settlers.
It's got nothing to do with Charles Hawkins' debts.
Ha! You've already begun to nose around it, would seem. So, since you already know it, the Hawkins family couldn't afford the upkeep of this house. It remains to be seen what they did with all their money. I wager it was Charles Hawkins' travels. Let's go up there. Unless you still have questions.
I prefer to be prepared if there's going to be trouble.
It's a wise attitude. But apart from old Silas and some rotten floorboards, there's nothing to worry about.
Could he be a problem?
Strictly speaking, he ain't dangerous. But since the tragedy, he's been a little touched. Though, he's a remarkably sturdy man, given his age. A true force of nature.
A sad old man doesn't worry me.
Gee, if you don't want to listen to my advice, we might as well go. Right?
You're the one who looked after the Hawkins case.
Don't think I was trying to hide it. It's just that this discovery shakes my convictions.
That's why you're so keen to find out who removed the painting from the mansion.
Yes. If something escaped us, or if there's been a law enforcement error, then it's up to the police to make good its mistake. Anything else?
Night falls quickly here. And I want to be able to see when we arrive.
I'll go with you, if only to reassure Silas.
Why not? You can help.
Right. Let's go.
Bradley was right. This place is much older than I imagined. The flowers on Sarah Hawkins' grave are fresh. Charles Hawkins' grave. Who could have done this?
I told you. Silas Winchester is still watching over the Hawkins family.
I must say, it's pretty gloomy.
So, Detective, does this place inspire any thoughts?
Why were they buried here?
I was given to believe that it was Charles Hawkins' wish.
Strange idea. I imagine Webster wasn't too pleased.
Mrs. Hawkins' father? It's said that he's devastated.
Let's go to the mansion.
Please give me a minute. I didn't expect to set foot back here after the burial. What kind of deranged individual would defile this sanctuary and steal a burnt painting? I don't see Silas doing such a thing, let alone allowing it. Even that broad baker is above that. Lord, have pity on this poor family.
Poor kid. This entrance is still in use.
Whoa!
Whoa!
You were trying to force the door, you nosy prick!
Easy, sir, all right? Put down the axe.
You know what we do with rubble like you? We gut them! Dump them into the ocean!
Whoa! You're Mr. Winchester. Lower that axe. Let's talk calmly.
I'll show you how we have it out on Darkwater.
You haven't forgiven yourself. You stay here to honor the memory of the deceased.
That's true. I want no more violence. No more tragedy.
It's painful to be the last one left.
You don't know how right you are. Understood. I'm listening.
The police report describes a domestic accident, but Stephen Webster has several reasons to believe that this may not be the case.
Webster is as stubborn as an old mule. And I did tell him that we should let the dead rest in peace.
He wants to restore the reputation of his daughter. I just need to see where the fire started.
No, I can't let you in. The mansion isn't safe.
That's why you barricaded the entrance.
That's right.
And this door?
It's locked, and I make sure it stays that way.
The sooner I carry out my investigation, the sooner I wrap up the case and return to Boston. After which, you'll never hear of me again.
I like the sound of that. But I have a better idea. You leave right now, and you never come back.
What are you doing?
Officer Bradley, this hood was trying to break into the mansion.
Do something, Bradley, or this story will have a nasty ending.
I vouch for him, Silas. He's working with us. We have reason to believe that someone entered the mansion and stole some paintings.
Impossible. I would have seen it.
Better safe than sorry. Now let us in. I promise to keep an eye on this one.
Okay then. I'll leave the key with you. You could have told me that earlier, Sonny.
Let's see what more I can learn from this mansion.
Pierce, shall we enter? Now that you've finished your fun and games with Silas, we can perhaps inspect the mansion.
You're right. Let's go. Let's take a look inside.
I'm with you. Follow me. I know the place. Who left this light on?
The Last Supper of the Hawkins. What does this tell me? What kind of meat is this? This place is for the head of the family, Charles Hawkins. The boy was probably here. Smashed his plate on the floor. Sarah Hawkins' plate. Why did she leave it untouched? Something happened at this table. An argument?
Hey, Pierce. Daydreaming again?
Working, officer. This dinner table tells us a lot about the Hawkins family life.
Well, we don't have all day. The scene of the fire is next door. Silas managed to bring the fire under control, but it was already too late for the Hawkins.
Let's see if I can find something the cops missed. They had a fight. Why? Did Sarah Hawkins lose one of her shoes? How? The child's corpse left a trace. Was Charles Hawkins a heavy drinker? Did it stop at the time of the fire? If the painting I found on the docks really came from here, how come it didn't burn? Did someone escape the fire? Blood. This lamp was thrown. This was no accident. This was a fight. Someone fell here. A desperate attempt to flee. And the boy.
So, Detective, what do you make of it?
Much of this evidence simply contradicts the investigation's findings.
Really? Tell me about it.
I found a bottle of whiskey. Empty.
Well, that must have been a loss for you.
No glass. I suspect one of them drank heavily to calm down. Charles, most probably.
That's pretty thin. Who says that bottle hadn't been there for a while?
I can tell where young Simon was, but not his parents. Where were their bodies found?
I can't help you on that one. Charles and Sarah's bodies had already been carried away when I got here.
Without your authorization? By whom?
Marshall, Andrews, Chief West. We never deal with cases like that, you know. So, well...
It would seem at least one person fled the crime scene.
What'd you say?
That mark on the door. Someone's hand slid down there. The left side has no mark. The door was open and that someone left.
For God's sake. I mean, if it's Charles or Sarah, they wouldn't have left their son.
They would rather die in the flames as a family instead of calling for help? I don't buy it.
Oh, yeah?
I was under the impression the fire started around midnight.
Yes, Silas banged on our door around 1 a.m. Poor devil ran so hard he was almost belching his lungs out.
This clock burned before 10 p.m.
That's impossible. What you imply? Silas never would have hurt the Hawkins family. Besides, Dr. Fuller confirmed the hour of death in his report. Your clock must have already have stopped.
Honestly, you don't find that suspicious?
That's troubling, I have to admit. But I trust Silas. And Dr. Fuller is an authoritative figure. The mainland folks are damned envious that he's here with us. A brilliant surgeon, and a friend of the family. I'm sure he took the matter to heart. So, excuse me if I value his opinion over yours.
So be it. Let's move on. I firmly believe this fire was more than just an accident.
Huh. What's your theory?
I think the Hawkins couple got into a fight.
You sure of that?
There's only one way to be sure.
I just ask that you don't disturb anything. If Chief West found out about what we're doing, I'd be in serious trouble.
These bandages are covered in dried blood. But whose?